breaking news tonight. Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul.
Breaking news. Sean P. Diddy Combs has been arrested and indicted on federal charges. The disgraced music icon has faced startling allegations for months of rape, sexual assault, physical abuse, gun trafficking, and drug trafficking. On Monday evening, he was indicted by a grand jury in New York. He was taken into custody in Manhattan, where he's been for the last week in anticipation of these charges. Now, the charges haven't been made public just yet.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. We do have some breaking news we want to report to you out of the world of entertainment. We're getting this in from TMZ. Alex Michelson there at Fox 11 in Los Angeles has it in this tweet here that Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested after being indicted by a grand jury in New York. That's according to the New York Times, also according to TMZ as well here. It's not immediately clear what charges he is facing. So this is quite significant here. I want to just show you some file footage of Diddy over the years now.
It all began when news broke that Diddy was arrested on serious charges. While the details are still unfolding, it seems the accusations are about questionable business and personal behavior. Diddy, a big name in hip-hop, now faces legal troubles that could affect the whole industry.
Some major breaking news to tell you about. Sean P. Diddy Combs has been arrested, according to TMZ. According to the New York Times, he was indicted in New York by a federal grand jury and was just taken into custody in Manhattan. As we know, he's been the subject of an investigation for some time now, Marla.
Fox 11 was first on the scene, in fact, in March. Here's that shot from Sky Fox when federal agents raided his Holmby Hills. So this is connected to that raid. There was also a raid of his property in Miami. His team tonight, his attorney putting out a statement saying, quote, he is an imperfect person but is not criminal, and goes on to say that they are disappointed with the decision to pursue what they believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs.
So we're going to have a lot more on this throughout the night here on Fox 11.
Curtis 50 Cent Jackson is known for speaking his mind. He's had a long and public feud with Diddy, with both of them making snarky comments about each other on social media, in interviews, and through their music. So, it wasn't surprising when 50 Cent reacted quickly to the news of Diddy's arrest. He posted a message on Instagram that went viral, targeting his longtime rival.
Breaking news. Sean P. Diddy Combs has been arrested and indicted on federal charges. The disgraced music icon has faced startling allegations for months of rape, sexual assault, physical abuse, gun trafficking, and drug trafficking. On Monday evening, he was indicted by a grand jury in New York. He was taken into custody in Manhattan, where he's been for the last week in anticipation of these charges. Now, the charges haven't been made public just yet. In fact, the indictment was sealed. But according to the New York Times, a person familiar with the prosecution says they believe Diddy faces charges of racketeering and sex trafficking. Diddy's legal team said they were disappointed with the decision to prosecute, but mentioned their client has been cooperative with law enforcement. A statement from his legal team reads, quote, Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, self-made entrepreneur, loving family man, and proven philanthropist who has spent the last 30 years building an empire, adoring his children, and working to uplift the Black community. He is an imperfect person, but is not criminal. To his credit, Mr. Combs has been nothing but cooperative with this investigation, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. Please reserve your judgment until you have all the facts. These are the acts of an innocent man with nothing to hide, and he looks forward to clearing his name in court. All this comes about 6 months after 2 of Diddy's homes were raided by federal investigators back in March. Then we couldn't confirm Diddy was the target of the Homeland Security raids or what information the feds collected. Most of what we know came from the 5 civil suits with a series of shocking allegations ranging from the 90s until now. Multiple people alleged Diddy raped them, drugged them, and recorded all of that. We can't confirm it just yet, but it was likely those civil lawsuits that led up to the federal investigation and later Diddy's arrest. This is breaking news that is constantly developing, so stay with Law and Crime for all the latest updates. For now, let's take a look back at the allegations leading up to Diddy's arrest. For the past 3 decades, we've come to know Sean Combs as multiple different names. P. Diddy, Puffy, Puff Daddy, Puff. The 54-year-old is a rapper, entrepreneur, and label exec. Things changed for him on March 25th when Homeland Security raided 2 of his homes, one in California and the other in Florida. There's no word yet whether Diddy himself was the target of those raids, and he's not been charged criminally. That being said, some allegations of his criminal past became a major topic of conversation when news of the raids broke.
That's what was so stunning when Cassie Ventura filed her lawsuit earlier this year. It kind of broke the dam, and it was just the floodgates opened and all of these other allegations started to come to the surface.
That's Melba Pearson, a former prosecutor who's followed the Diddy case meticulously since it broke. Her interest actually dates back farther than just last month, when Diddy's Bad Boy for Life mantra was just a song. And we know about the allegations now that have happened in the past couple months via these civil suits. But if we go back, I know that you have kind of followed Diddy for a while and you're pretty knowledgeable about that era. From the 90s until now, prior to these civil lawsuits being filed, was there talk of wrongdoing on Diddy's behalf?
There really wasn't. To compare him to R. Kelly, for instance, there were rumors swirling around R. Kelly from the beginning, and that started off with his marriage to a very underage Aaliyah, and that's when folks were like, okay, something doesn't seem right here. But kind of put it to the side, just kind of put a pin in it for a few decades until all the bombshell allegations and ended up being proved in a court of law came forth. I feel like with Diddy, we didn't hear that much. We knew that he partied hard. We knew that he was always going to high profile events and all of that. But I personally have never heard any rumors surrounding any wrongdoing or anything having to do with him. This is an artist who really came to prominence in the 90s. We remember all of the videos. He was very close with Biggie Smalls, who also tragically lost his life back in the late 1990s, early 2000s. And so he was somebody who had this whole orbit around him, and so many different artists like Maze and all these different folks that sprung out from this record label and orbit that they were in. So he had a huge impact on what R&B and hip hop looked like in the 90s and the 2000s, and continued to be influential today in terms of other artists that have, gained prominence and gained fame, as well as him as a producer, having this really huge presence in the industry. So absolutely, this is a bombshell, and this is something where the impact is going to be reverberating around the globe for a variety of reasons.
But during this era, Diddy did have some trouble with the law. Back in 1999, he was arrested and charged in a shooting at a New York nightclub. His then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and rapper Shine were also arrested. J-Lo's charges were dropped, but it was Shine who faced the most serious charges.
In the post, 50 Cent shared a photo of Diddy with a simple caption, "Sent this mother *****. Fans quickly commented, adding to the drama and speculating about what might happen next. It looked like 50 Cent's comment wasn't just about the arrest, but also about years of tension between them. It's clear that 50 Cent is relishing Diddy's downfall, although some people are saying he's going too far.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as of this moment. Joining us now is CNN's entertainment reporter Elizabeth Wagmeister, and also with us CNN chief legal correspondent Ellie Honig. Elizabeth, you were a big part of revealing some details about Diddy's conduct in private over the course of the last couple of months. That video led to a lot more scrutiny on what he has been accused of. What do we know at this point about what this case might ultimately be about?
Abby, at the moment, we don't know what the charges are. I have information that he was arrested tonight at a Manhattan hotel. He is currently being processed. I heard from his attorney they are still maintaining his innocence. They said that in anticipation of these charges that Diddy relocated to New York last week. And here's a statement that I have from his attorney. He says, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office." He goes on to say that he is an imperfect person, but is not criminal. Now, Abby, that video that you just spoke about was a few months ago when our team broke this disturbing video of Diddy violently assaulting his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, better known as the singer, her stage name, Cassie. Now, up until this point, when we broke this video, Diddy had denied the allegations against him. Cassie is one of 10 civil suits against Diddy, 9 of which he is accused directly of sexually assault. Up until that video, he denied everything. After that video came out, he changed his tone. He apologized for his conduct in that video. But I have to tell you, Abby, just as of last week, a former member of Danity Kane, which was one of the bands from Making the Band, Diddy's show that was on MTV, she sued him for sexual assault and other disturbing allegations, and he denied that. So he continues the denials, and he still maintains his innocence, even though he has been arrested tonight.
And Ellie, not a huge amount of information available tonight, but Elizabeth brought up something that I want you to give us a little bit of insight into. Diddy is here in New York, in Manhattan. He apparently came here in anticipation that something like this might happen. What should we understand about what that might mean? It could very well be that this is a federal arrest being processed here in New York.
So, Abby, there are some important things we do not know, including the specific charges that have been lodged against Sean Combs. But there are some really important things we do know. First of all, based on the attorney's statement, based on our reporting, this is a federal prosecution. It's not a state prosecution. The fact that he's being processed in Manhattan tells me that's the Southern District of New York. That's consistent with the reporting that the Southern District of New York had been handling this case. That's the office I used to work at. That's an office that sort of specializes in high stakes cases. Just in the last year or so, Southern District of New York, just as an example, has successfully prosecuted Sam Bankman-Fried, Senator Robert Menendez. The other thing that we do know is a grand jury has indicted Sean Combs, meaning they found probable cause that he committed at least one federal crime. Now, as to what happens next, there will be, likely tomorrow or within the next couple days, but usually in the SDNY, you try to do it the next day, there will be an arraignment, meaning Sean Combs will appear in court with his lawyers. There are no cameras in federal court. He will be advised of the charges against him, and he will almost certainly enter a not guilty plea. But the key thing to watch for is then we'll have the question of bail. Will prosecutors agree to let him out on bail? Will prosecutors ask the judge to lock him up pending trial? That could end up in a contentious argument. So these are things that are going to play out over the next 24 or 48 hours. And finally, Abby, with respect to the charges themselves, it's important to note, we've all seen that video, but assault and sexual assault are not federal crimes. Those are prosecuted in state court. So what I expect to see when we see this indictment is some sort of crime with some element of organization to it, sex trafficking, something along those lines, if it's based on some of the allegations we've heard.
And of course, back in March, his homes in LA and in Miami were raided. All of this leading up to this moment. Elizabeth and Ellie, a lot more to this story will be coming up in the coming days and weeks.
But it didn't end there. 50 Cent then posted a bunch of stories, memes, and old footage making fun of Diddy's past scandals. He hinted that this arrest was karma for Diddy's behavior over the years. Some fans cheered for 50 Cent's comments, while others criticized him for attacking someone who's already down. Meanwhile, Diddy hasn't said anything about the situation. His lawyers are working to get him released, and he's focused on fighting the charges. It's not clear if 50 Cent's comments will lead to more public fights between them, but it's obvious that 50 Cent is enjoying this moment.
Coming with the firearm and is gonna, hold it down and ride or die for her man. Like, I don't think people really saw that of her. So I think that was the most shocking part of the case back in 1999.
So we've got these allegations that Diddy was responsible as the shooter, but also allegations that J-Lo carried the weapon that Diddy used in the shooting. What's interesting here is that Cassandra Ventura, known publicly as the singer Cassie, says Diddy made her do the same thing. She filed a lawsuit in November of last year, laying out some pretty severe allegations about Diddy. To start, there's that gun allegation that on at least 2 occasions, Diddy demanded Cassie hold his gun in her purse. The lawsuit goes on to state, quote, "There was no clear reason why Mr. Combs required her to hold his gun, except to reinforce to his young girlfriend that he was violent, powerful, and dangerous."
Not only did Jennifer Lopez allegedly bring the gun to the club, now we're also looking at years later, Cassie coming forward and saying that Diddy forced her to carry a gun with her when they went out to different events. So again, I think that this is more along the lines of, when you look at this from a domestic violence lens, from the standpoint of the abuser being very controlling and demanding certain activities to prove loyalty, to basically put yourself in a bad situation where only he can be the one to save you, basically. So in seeing that, the parallels between J-Lo's experience and Cassie's experience, number one, it brings more credibility to what Cassie said in her pleadings, but also, again, it causes us to look at Jennifer Lopez and be like, some of the comments she made about the end of her relationship to Diddy, in terms of, well, there was infidelity, and she kind of skirted the issue a bit. But when you start to look back at her comments, you start to think, ooh, were you in a domestic violence relationship with Diddy, much like how Cassie ended up in a domestic violence relationship with him?
What would have made her want to come forward, and what did you take away from that civil suit?
So the reason why she came forward at this juncture is because New York and California both passed laws around, which was called the Adult Survivor Act. So that basically extends the statute of limitations.
It's interesting that several more people have come forward. There's 4 additional lawsuits to Cassie's, and several of them mention Cassie by name and say, hey, because she came forward and told us about these allegations, we felt comfortable doing the same thing. So did it really backfire for Diddy then?
I think it did, because if this had been settled without any kind of public involvement, any kind of media coverage, these other people may never have come forward. So by, kind of calling her bluff and saying, oh yeah, there's no way you're going to file this, he did himself a whole lot of damage. But I'm glad, because at least now the truth is going to come out and everyone will know who this person is. And now, of course, that kicked everything into high gear in terms of law enforcement involvement and investigations. So as much as this whole thing is sad and sordid, I'm glad that it's coming out so that more survivors can get the closure that they need and that he can be brought to justice for the crimes he's perpetrated on others.
Among those other lawsuits, another filed under the New York Survivors Act by Joy Dickerson Neal. Her allegations date back to 1991 when she was a student at Syracuse University. Joy says Diddy intentionally drugged her, resulting in her being in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. Joy also alleges she's a victim of revenge porn because Diddy allegedly recorded the rape and passed around that videotape. According to her suit, Joy demands a jury trial, as does Liza Gardner, who also says Diddy raped her in New York in the 90s. According to her civil suit, Liza and her friend met Diddy at a party and later went with him to an after party, where she, quote, was offered more drinks and coerced into having sex with Combs. Liza says Diddy and another man raped her and her friend. Later on, she says Diddy choked her to the point that she lost consciousness. While Jane Doe doesn't list her name in the lawsuit, she does list multiple photos of herself and Diddy. Her allegations date back to 2003 when she was just 17 years old and in 11th grade. Her lawsuit states at this time, Diddy was twice her age and one of the most well-known and influential music artists of all time. Jane Doe alleges Diddy flew her from Michigan to New York on a private plane and raped her in a recording studio. All this leads us back to Lil Rod's 74-page lawsuit that was filed back in February, detailing a laundry list of wild accusations. Melba says all this parallels a trajectory we've seen before.
Oh, it absolutely is a fall from grace. I have no question in my mind that this is going to be the end of Diddy as we know him, right? And the next chapter is going to be him incarcerated, much like R. Kelly. And which is, of course, sad, tragic, and horrible, not only for him, but more importantly for the survivors who have gone through some horrific experiences. But yeah, I think this is definitely going to be the end, because with all of the allegations that have come forward and come forth at this juncture, all the artists that have come forward alleging wrongdoing, I can't see how he gets out of this. I just can't.
According to Lil Rod's lawsuit, he lived with Diddy for months at a time while working on Diddy's Love album. During this time, he says Diddy sexually assaulted him, forced him to have sex with prostitutes, and drugged him. On top of all this, Lil Rod says his allegations are corroborated with hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in some serious illegal activity, because Diddy apparently required Lil Rod to record him constantly. The lawsuit even lays out some pictures, like this one, showing Cuba Gooding Jr. with his arm around Lil Rod. According to this suit, Lil Rod alleges Diddy was, quote, grooming him to pass him off to his friends. This fear became reality when Mr. Combs introduced Mr. Jones to Cuba Gooding Jr. while they were on Mr. Combs' yacht. Court documents go on to state, Cuba Gooding Jr. began touching, groping, and fondling Mr. Jones' legs, his upper inner thighs near his groin, the small of his back near his buttocks, and his shoulders. But then there are other defendants listed, like corporations such as Universal Music Group and Motown Records, along with their higher-ups. To understand this, I spoke to entertainment attorney Mitra Ohurian. In addition to these record labels that are listed as defendants, they also list CEOs, a former CEO of Motown Records and then a current CEO of UMG. So I'm wondering why, in addition to these labels, are they listing the CEOs?
Yeah, they're trying to pierce the corporate veil. They're trying to say that, you as individuals also were aware of these things happening.
Someone we know for sure is speaking with investigators, though, is Cassie. Melba says she's not surprised.
I expect that she would have, because again, if she's telling the truth, then she's going to give any evidence that she has. So in terms of if there's recording she knows existed, right? I mean, she may not have possession of it, but she could be like, listen, in July of 2005, he forced me to do XYZ at, this particular hotel. There may be surveillance footage to show me going in and out of the building. There may be video that he took of the
50 Cent is known for creating drama and getting people talking, whether on social media or in public. He's good at staying in the spotlight where drama gets noticed. This latest incident shows he's still one of hip-hop's most outspoken stars.
Mace the whole story. I helped Mace on 2 occasions in California. When he was trapped off in the club and when he was trapped off in the hotel. You understand me? Mace knew what he was doing. He was trying to divert what really happened, because I had made a statement is that why he told Puff what those guys from California told him about wanting to kill Big and wanting to get at Puff over that incident that happened at their video shoot in New York when their Vans and Winnebagos was shot up. Why didn't he tell Big? So he was trying to divert that whole conversation and make it seem like, so Gene, why you didn't shoot? Listen to me. It wasn't because Big wasn't my principal. He knew the fact that we had blew the light and we was halfway down the block, crossed the light, and then when the first shot went off, our driver took straight off. I'm screaming at our driver because he was told that somebody was pointing a gun at Big and them. He should have just threw the car in reverse. He knew the whole story, my man. Prior to him even coming back to New York. Because me and him had a conversation on the phone. He the one told me, well, I was in the room with Brandy and and Brandy was trying to get me out the room to come to the party. So I felt that was kind of weird. So she said Brandy was calling me trying to get me out the room to come to the party. Well, you was in the room with Brandy. How's she calling you to try to get you out the room to come to the party? You know what I'm saying? This was going through my mind. But Mace knew the whole situation. Mace knew that it's no way possible that I was able, being sideways in the car, because Puff, when I got in the car, Puff had put his seat back. Now I'm sideways in the car like this, and I'm cussing him out like, yo, man, what the fuck is you doing? Why you got your seat back like this? We hear the shot, pow! Puff put his head down. I go to open the door. Kenny flies, going straight. You understand? So he knew the whole story. What I supposed to do? Put my gun out the window and just start shooting? Like this? When the car had already turned the corner? It came out of parking space. So he knew the story, bruh. He was trying to just divert the attention of, well, why security? So ask security. Ask big security. Ask Paul. Ask the LAPD. The LAPD officer that was right there, they was right behind. Paul was outside the car. Why didn't they shoot? Why when we turn back around and come down the street, that they way down the block, they coming back when we get back to the car? When we get back to the car, nobody's in Big's car, but Big. Mace knew this. Me and Mace had this conversation. Him and Tone is like this. He knew me and Tone jumped in the car and chased after the guy. We couldn't catch him. He wanted to divert the attention from himself because why didn't you tell Big that these dudes was trying to get at you, bruh? You had that conversation with with Puff, but you ain't had that conversation with Big. Big was your label mate. So people come on and tell me, why you ain't shoot? Listen to me, bro. At that time, I was young, dumb, and full of cum. Anybody who really knows me know that they ain't gotta worry about nothing. If it comes to the point where gunplay has to be a part of my security, I'm not gonna hesitate. Because I never bodyguard anybody that I wasn't willing to lay down my life for. And that goes for Puff or anybody else I ever was with.
Man, you on the show right now?
Yeah, I'm on my show right now, Mace.
Yeah, I don't mind. I just like Gene, I know you. So I mean, the first thing I think, like you, when you be saying stuff, I think you need to be more truthful, man. Cause you were there and you saw some things, but it seemed like you doing stuff for ratings and instead of just being real. If you want to tell people the truth, don't blemish my name and try to make your show look better. Tell the absolute truth, man.
How do I blemish your name, Mace?
I know, but you keep saying stuff like me and Diddy, like, you know I'm a real man. Like, why you got looking at me funny about what you saying, bro?
How I got somebody, hold up. How do I have somebody looking at you funny, Mace?
I mean, just straight up, because you know, like, you saying funny stuff about religion and all that, like me and him saying, like, yo, you know, I don't even play like that, bro.
Bro, let me tell you something. Like, did I say you and him was praying together? Go ahead. I'm gonna let you talk.
I know you to be a real one. I know you to be a real one.
Go ahead.
I know you to be an upstanding guy. So I'm not expecting no funny business from you. Like, even in your show, you said some stuff about you and Puff was taking a picture with his dude shot big before he even got killed. But you never really addressed that. So if you don't start addressing stuff, bro, address the real stuff, man. Don't be playing around, because this is not a game. This is people's life. And I'm the only one really willing to say something or to do something about it. I ain't hiding behind no YouTube and all of that.
So you saying, Mace, hold up. You saying that you know who I am. You know you go ahead.
I'm saying in your video where you said you took a picture with a nigga who shot big. That's crazy.
Bruh, you're not listening. Bruh, listen here. Mace, when you talk, I don't say a thing. When I talk, I want the same respect. Now, what I told you was, and what you didn't hear, was they showed me a picture of me, Puff, and the nigga who killed, that Lil C said killed Big. The FBI said they saw the picture too. When they showed me the picture, they had the face blurred out. I didn't say I took a picture. I said the FBI. Yo, bro, I said the LAPD showed me a picture of me, Puff, and the nigga who shot Big. The Lil C said. Why would you and Puff be taking a picture with a dude who did that? That don't make no sense. Because they showed me the picture. I don't know who took the picture. What do you mean? The nigga walked up to Puff car first. And I think, Puff was in the car. I was standing on the outside. This nigga was coming up down the drive. He was coming down the street. What are you talking about? So if you want to say something, Mace, tell us why you didn't go. Mace, why you ain't go?
This is one of the biggest celebrity feuds happening now, and fans are excited to see what happens next. Will Diddy reply to 50 Cent's comments? Will 50 keep causing trouble? One thing is certain. In hip-hop, the drama never ends. That's all for today's update on the 50 Cent and Diddy saga. Keep watching for more celebrity news.